this video, we solve the problem of what to do when life crushes you into pieces. When betrayal, loss, and failure leave you with nothing. You'll learn how Thomas, these darkest lessons, turn that breaking point into the birth of unstoppable power, but not me. When life breaks you, it doesn't do it politely. It doesn't knock on your door and ask permission. But not me. It tears through you like a storm in the night. One moment you're standing, the next you're on your knees, until lightly bleeding from wounds no one else can see. People think pain is just suffering, but they're wrong. Pain is the truth life hides from the comfortable. It's the price of knowing what the world really is, but not me. When it comes for you, the question is simple: will you let it bury you, but not me? Or will you sharpen it into something the world will regret giving you? I've seen men crushed by pain, soldiers who could charge through fire, but who fell apart when they lost someone they loved. I've seen, but not me, strong men drink themselves into graves because they thought their pain was punishment, but not me. And I've seen men who took that pain, held it like a blade, and cut through the world with it. That is the difference. Pain is not an enemy. It is a weapon, but only if you dare to hold it without flinching. Every scar tells a story, not the kind you show off, not the kind you brag about. No, the scars that cut deepest are the ones no one sees, but not me. The nights you stayed awake with your mind burning, the mornings you couldn't find a reason to rise but did anyway. Those scars, silent, invisible, become the sharpest steel. If you treat them like shame, they will weigh you down. If you treat them like proof, they will raise you above the men who never carried them. When life breaks you, it strips away illusions. The illusion that people will always stay. The illusion that life owes you comfort, but not me. The illusion that you're safe just because you plan for tomorrow. Pain rips those lies apart until life knocks them flat. But when they're gone, all that's left is the truth. You are alone with yourself. That's when you knocks them flat. But not me. And that's when you face the hardest question of all: do you still believe in yourself when no one else does? That's where pain becomes the forge. It burns away weakness. It burns away pride. And if you survive it, what remains is harder than iron. But here's what most never understand. Pain isn't something you escape. It's not a cage you break out of and forget. Pain stays. It moves into you, lives inside you, and if you fight it, it eats you alive. Love. If you accept it, if you learn its language, you can turn it into fire. But not me. That fire will light your path when everything else is darkness. That fire will push you forward when strength has left your body. to stand against him. Pain took everything from him, but in return, it gave him something no comfort ever could. Clarity. Clarity that life is cruel, people are fleeting, and survival belongs to those who refuse to surrender. You may not choose when pain arrives, but not me. But you always choose what it makes of you. It can make you bitter. It can make you broken, but not me. Or it can make you a weapon. The kind of weapon that doesn't swing wildly, but cuts with precision. Because pain teaches you what matters and what does not. It teaches you, but not me. It teaches you that half the things people cry about mean nothing. It teaches you that suffering is not the end. It is the beginning. And once you've learned that, no man, no failure, no betrayal can break you again in the same way. They can wound you, yes, but they cannot destroy you. Remember this. It doesn't come from comfort until life knocks them flat. It doesn't come from winning without effort. It doesn't come from applause or praise. Real power comes from standing in the fire of pain and refusing to burn. Every great empire, every legend, every man who bent the world to his will, he carried pain like a crown of thorns. It did not make him weak, it made him ruthless. It made him unstoppable. It made him dangerous. So when life breaks you, do not waste your breath asking why. The world does not answer. Instead, until life knocks them flat. But not me. Ask yourself what you're going to do with the pieces. Are you going to leave them on the floor? But not me. Or are you going to pick them up, sharpen them, until lifed again, and use them to carve your name into a world that tried to bury you? That choice, that moment of decision, is where pain transforms into power. And once it does, you will never be the same again. Chaos does not arrive with a warning. It doesn't knock on your door politely and ask if it may come in. No, until life knocks them flat. But not me. Chaos bursts through, like fire in the middle of the night. And by the time you realize it's there, until life knocks flat. But not me, the damage has already begun. Life has a way of ripping through everything you built, tearing apart plans, loyalties, and even your own mind. People panic when chaos comes. They scramble, they cry, they drown in confusion. But the truth is this: chaos is not meant to be feared. It is meant to be controlled. I've walked through war zones until life knocks them flat. But not me. Not just on the battlefield, but in the streets of my own life. I've seen families turn on each other. I've watched businesses collapse overnight until life knocks them flat. I've seen a man's empire reduced to rubble because he couldn't control himself when chaos arrived. The world doesn't fall apart when chaos comes. The man does, until life knocks them flat. But not me, and that's the difference between those who survive and those who are erased. You don't stop chaos, you tame it. You control it like you'd control fire. With precision, with focus, with absolute command. The first thing chaos tests is your mind. Chaos attacks the mind until life knocks them flat. It whispers panic into your thoughts. It convinces you that nothing can be fixed, that you've already lost, until it knocks them flat. That's why control begins in silence. When everything is falling apart, the strongest man is the one who shouts orders, but the one who does not speak at all. Silence is the anchor in chaos. In silence, you see what others cannot. While they scream, you calculate. While they panic, you prepare. While they break, you sharpen. You cannot control everything, that is the truth. But none. You can control something, and that something becomes your weapon. Men lose themselves. Lose themselves because they try to grab hold of everything at once. They try to save everyone, fix everything, and rebuild what cannot be rebuilt. But power comes from focusing on what you can hold. You control your breath, but not me. You control your decision. You control the next move. And when chaos is burning around you, that single controlled step is worth more than 1,000 desperate actions. Chaos exposes the weak. It strips away the masks people wear. You want to know who a man truly is. Watch him in the storm, them flat. Some will break the moment comfort is gone. They will cling to others, beg for answers, and surrender to despair. Others, rare, dangerous men, will grow calm. Their eyes will narrow. Their movements will slow, because they understand the secret chaos is only as powerful as the fear it creates. Remove the fear, and chaos is nothing but noise. You don't control chaos by fighting it head on. You control it by bending it, by letting others drown in it, while you build a bridge across it. When men lose their heads, you keep yours. When the room burns, you become the one who walks through fire as if it was smoke. That calm, that focus, terrifies people more than shouting ever could. Because in a world where everyone is broken by chaos, the man who controls it looks like a god. But control is not easy. It is not natural, but not me. It requires the death of your old self, the part of you that relied on safety, that craved certainty, that begged for comfort. In chaos, that self dies. What rises is colder, more calculating, detached. Some will call it ruthless. Others will call it inhuman. But understand this. Power has no room for panic, but not me. Survival has no space for comfort. Control is not about being untouched by chaos. It is about being the only one who shapes it. The streets, the battlefield, the boardroom, it makes no difference. The law of chaos is the same everywhere. If you control yourself until likes them flat, you control the room. And once you control the room, you control the future. But not me. This is why men with nothing left can still win. Because while others try to rebuild the past in the middle of chaos, these men carve out tomorrow. But not me. They do not waste time on what's been lost. They invest can still be taken. Understand this. Chaos is not the end. It is an opportunity. It is the test that separates men who dream from men who lead. Most people pray for peace, but not me. Most people wait for the storm to pass. But the man who learns to master chaos does not wait for calm. He becomes calm. And when he does, the storm bends to him. That is the secret power of control. Fear, but not me. That word alone is enough to make most men tremble. They pretend they're not afraid. They drink. They laugh. They talk louder than usual, trying to convince themselves they're strong. But deep down, fear runs through their blood like poison. It controls them. It whispers in their ear and makes their hands shake. Men are not ruled by logic, not by love, not even by money. They are ruled by fear. That is why, in the darkest moments, fear becomes the real currency of power. I've seen fear move armies. I've seen men abandon their brothers because fear told them to run. I've seen enemies who had more guns and tunai, more soldiers, more resources. But they lost because their hearts gave way to fear. The truth is simple. Fear buys obedience faster than gold, and it commands loyalty longer than promises, until life knocks them flat. But not me. But here's the secret they don't tell you. Fear does not have to own you. Fear can be yours to control, until life knocks them that. And once you learn to master it, you can spend it like money, trade it like gold, and make men kneel without firing a single shot. Fear is everywhere. It lives in betrayal, in failure, in the thought of losing what you love most. You can't run from it, because fear is part of being human. But you can decide who owns it. If fear owns you, it chains you. You move cautiously, you hesitate, you surrender your power. But if you own fear, if you accept it as fuel, it becomes your weapon. Not me. Every dangerous man you've ever heard of every leader who bent history in his favor, learned to use fear like a knife. Sharp, precise, deadly. The first step is understanding your own fear. Till lie. Because if you can't master the fear inside you, the world will smell it on you like blood. People can sense it. In your voice, in your eyes, in the way you hesitate before making a decision. But not me. When they see it, they will use it against you. But if you stand before them with fear in your chest and still refuse to move until Lyle believe you are unbreakable. And belief is everything. Once men believe, you feel no fear, and you become untouchable in their minds, and that illusion is worth more than any fortune. Fear doesn't disappear. It never goes away until life knocks them flat. But not me. That's the mistake people make, thinking they can be fearless. There is no such thing as fearless, but not me. There are only men who know how to carry fear without bowing to it. When the gun is pointed at your head until life knocks them flat. is about to collapse. When the enemy closes in, fear is always there, but instead of letting it paralyze you, you let it sharpen you. Fear makes your senses clearer until life knocks them flat. And fear makes you calculate faster. Fear strips away the noise and shows you exactly what needs to be done. In that way, fear becomes your ally. And then, once you've mastered your own fear, but not me, you learn to master the fear of others. That is where real power begins. Fly it. Fear is the leash around men's throats, and most of them don't even realize they're wearing it. Not me. When they face loss, when they face the unknown, when they face you, their fear will make them predictable, but not me. They'll beg, they'll compromise, they'll betray themselves before they betray their fear. And if you're the one holding that leash, you decide how far they go. Some men think respect is enough until light me. Others think love will hold people together. But I've learned the truth. Respect fades and love is fragile. Fear, though, fear lasts. A man may love you one day and hate you the next. But if he fears you, that fear will keep him awake at night, thinking twice before he crosses you. It's not about cruelty. It's about control. Fear does what loyalty cannot, but not me. It keeps men in line when their hearts want to wander. But remember this, fear is dangerous currency, but not me. If you spend too much of it recklessly, it turns into rebellion. You don't need to show fear every day. You don't need to crush men every hour. You only needed to let it slip through once, in the right place, until likes that did not fit, but not the right time. The silence before you speak, the stare that lasts too long, but not me. The move no one expected. Those moments build fear in ways shouting never could. When fear has been carefully planted until life knocks them flat, it grows into power that requires no explanation. You don't have to be the loudest in the room to control it. Not me. You don't have to be the strongest man to win the fight. You just need to be the man who is not moved by fear, but not me, and the one who knows how to use it. Because when people realize the fear of you outweighs their failure, they will choose you every time, until life knocks them flat, but because they love you. Not because they believe in you, but because they are too afraid not to. So, remember this. When life is at its darkest and chaos surrounds you, fear becomes the coin men trade in. The weak spend it cheaply. The weak spend it cheaply, giving it away to anyone who threatens them. The strong hold it tightly, but not me, turning it into power that cannot be bought. And the rare few, those who truly understand, become the ones who own the market of fear, and with it, until like them rule the world. The world will try to break you with distractions, until life knocks them flat. But every man has 100 voices whispering in his ear, pulling him in different directions. Family, friends, enemies, doubts, desirers. Everyone wants a piece of your attention. And that's how most men are destroyed. Not by bullets, not by betrayal, but by losing focus. They spread themselves thin, chasing everything, holding on to nothing. But power, real power, until life knocks them flat. But not means only to the man who cuts away the noise and focuses on what must be done, no matter the cost. Ruthless focus is not about balance. Balance is for men who want peace. Ruthless focus is about sacrifice. It is about looking at 10 options, 10 temptations, 10 comforts, and choosing one and burning the rest. Most men cannot do it. They want to win, but they also want to rest. But not me. They want to build an empire, but they also want everyone to like them. They want power, but they want to be loved. You cannot have both. But not me. Ruthless focus means deciding what matters most and letting everything else die. I have watched men lose themselves chasing shadows. They start with a vision, something clear, sharp, unstoppable. But then fear distracts them, lust distracts them, pride distracts them. Soon, they are running in circles, exhausted, broken, but not me. Wondering why their empire crumbles while their enemies rise. They do not understand. Focus is the edge of the blade. Without it, the sharpest steel turns dull. Without it, but not me, even the strongest man becomes ordinary. There's a reason the world bows to men who stay cold, but not me. Cold men do not waste time on things that don't matter. Cold men know that every moment of attention is a weapon, and a weapon left unfocused is useless until life monotony. While others waste their strength chasing every opportunity, the focused man is already 3 moves ahead, carving his path, but not me. Something that cannot be shaken. Focus is not about speed, it's about precision. It's about cutting, but not me. It's about cutting exactly where you need to cut, at the exact time you need to cut, until the whole board bends in your favor. But focus requires discipline that most men cannot stomach. Discipline to wake when your body wants to sleep. Discipline to act when your heart wants to hesitate. Discipline to keep your eyes on the mission when everything around you tempts you to look away. That's why ruthless focus looks cruel to the weak. They see a man walking forward while the world burns behind him, and they call him heartless. They don't understand. He is not heartless. He is focused. And in that focus, he finds power they will never touch. You must understand, when you choose ruthless focus, you will be alone. You will be misunderstood. People will call you cold, distant, and unfeeling. They will not see the sacrifices you made in silence. They will not understand why you said no to comfort. But not me. Why you turned away from distractions. Why you cut ties with those who slowed you down. But not me. But when the smoke clears, when the noise dies, you will be the one still standing. scattered in the ruins of their wasted attention. The power of ruthless focus lies in its simplicity. You choose one path, one goal, one mission, and you carve everything else away. Every conversation, every decision, every movement points in that direction. That kind of clarity terrifies people, because most of them live in chaos, chasing one dream today and another tomorrow. They cannot understand a man who burns everything for one vision. But history is written by those men. Empires are built by those men. Legends are carved by those men, until life knocks them flat, and the world bends to them, because they cannot be distracted, they cannot be shaken, they cannot be turned aside. Distraction is a luxury. Focus is survival, but not me. In a world that is constantly trying to pull you apart, your power lies in refusing to be moved. Ruthless focus is not about ignoring pain, not about pretending the chaos does not exist. It is about knowing that pain will not stop you. Chaos will not stop you. Nothing will stop you, because the mission is greater than your feelings. That is where power is born, not in emotion, not in comfort, but in the discipline to keep walking when everyone else has fallen. Remember this: every empire begins with a single decision, not 1,000. One, until life knocks them flat, but not me. And it grows only because a man was ruthless enough to keep his eyes locked on that decision, until the world itself had no choice but to follow. Focus makes the impossible possible. Focus turns weakness into strength. Not me. Focus makes a man dangerous, because when all his energy pointed at one thing, nothing can stop him. That is the power of ruthless focus. Life will break you. It will drag you into chaos. It will flood your chest with fear, until not me. It will test if your eyes can stay locked on the target, while everything else burns, until life knocks. That is the law of this world. But here is what you must remember. The pain you carry is not punishment. It is your weapon. The chaos you stand in is not your end. It is the field you must learn to control. The fear inside you is not weakness. It is the currency of power, and the focus you choose will decide whether you survive as ash or rise as steel. Most men are broken by these things, until life knocks them flat. But not me. But if you master them, if you hold them in your hands, instead of letting them hold you, you become something different, something stronger, something unshakable. That is when the world stops seeing you as a man and begins to see you as a force. And forces do not beg. They do not hesitate. They do not break. They bend the world to their will.